What was the dumbest rule your school enforced? Conservative Christian college. A group of us played Age of Empires one weekend. They didn't like it and called a meeting. Everyone involved got misdemeanors on their records. There was nothing in the handbook about it being against the rules. The only person that didn't get any punishment was the son of the president, even though he was just as involved as the rest of us. Was quite interesting explaining the write-up on my record when I transferred. You got a misdemeanor for what? Edit. They made it a rule after the fact, and did this several other times with things such as nail polish or radio control helicopters. In my freshman year of high school we had a terrible vandalism problem. The bathrooms would be broken in various ways almost constantly. In a stroke of pure genius, the staff decided that any bathroom that was vandalized would be closed for the week on first offense, the quarter for second, and permanently on the third offense. They took back the rule after closing every bathroom on day 1. Holy speep, recently at my high school someone stole a peeping urinal. I have no clue how someone manages to do that. That takes some Ocean's 11 level planning right there. School added thumbprint scanners at gates of school which counted as registration. Needless to say I would just walk to school, scan my thumb, and walk back home with them none the wiser. Was a great few months until they noticed. Months. I managed to not go to school for a month one time before anyone called home. I thought it was pretty good, but I'm impressed someone made it months. Though with the way some schools are, it isn't too surprising. Took all the doors off the men's room bathroom stalls because of vandalism for 2 months. Same at my school, but for all 4 years. We had no TP or mirrors either. No TP. What did you use then? In elementary, they banned running in alley. No running on the playground either. They also banned all ball sports, and would take your ball if you took it in from home, and they would put it in the gym cupboard to be used during PE class physical education. Keep in mind that these were 4 to 11-year-olds, so everyone ignored the rules, and so many were in detention. I'm not sure what we called it, that they had to drop the rule and nothing came of that. But the second rule about ball sports? Well, it turned out that one of the kids in the year below me had bought an aside soccer ball by a really famous player, and the school took it and kept it. We found out because there was a very angry mother screaming at the secretary that they effectively stole something that could be worth upwards of 1,000. They obviously gave back the ball and stopped stealing them after that. Who would have thought that stealing from little kids was a bad idea? Prom was a mandatory lockdown for the night in order to avoid students going to parties after prom. Prom was held at various house parties across town instead. I hate it when schools shove their noses into everyone else's business. In 6th grade they switched out all student chairs for large rubber stability balls. There was a strict no bouncing rule. It was a disaster. Edit. This was in Arizona in the late 90s for those asking. The idea was to promote better posture. This wouldn't work with any age group, let alone 6th graders. Actually, we have those in one classroom in HS, only because the teacher who has classes there is a bit nuts. At first everyone was bouncing on them, but we got bored of it after some time. These bouncy balls are supposedly good for your back, and I love them, but it would be an absolute nightmare in primary school. No backpacks to class, but purses were allowed. Girls started carrying around purses big enough to be considered a backpack. Guys got pissed, started carrying purses too. I'd wear my backpack on my front and call it a front pack. You couldn't wear any kind of head items that were gang colors red or blue. This included hairbands, scrunchies, beads in your hair, ribbons, anything. I got in trouble for wearing a blue hairband with white polka dots. Don't joke about the polka dot cartel. Locked bathroom doors in the period after lunch. You should have gone at lunch. Also banned duct tape accessories back when that was a trend. They said it was gang activity. My school banned backpacks at one point. To protest, boys just didn't bring anything with them to class and girls brought really big purses. One of the funnier things that happened because of it was an interaction between my friend and a teacher. Teacher, where's your book? Friend, in my backpack. Teacher, and where is that? Friend, at home. We had to wear belts. Someone snitched that people weren't wearing belts under their sweaters, and they actually checked, and a bunch of people got detentions. Stupid. We had belt raids at my school, where the dean would burst into classes, completely interrupting any education, to check that everyone was wearing a belt. We gotta understand him though. How could you possibly learn anything without a belt on to retain the information? We weren't allowed to play tag football at lunch, only frisbee. When I asked the principal what the difference was, he responded with a sarcastic tone, "A football is round and a frisbee is a flat disc." He left the school later that year, went to another school, and a few years later was brought up on charges for failing to report the abuse of a student by a teacher. No jackets. They think we may hide things like phones or bombs there. My high school mascot was Daniel Boone holding a musket. A kid wore a Guns N' Roses shirt to school and was told he had to change shirts because of the pistols on the shirt. He pointed out the hypocrisy of the school mascot, and they changed everything. The mascot was switched to holding a flagpole instead. Every instance of the mascot was changed from the multiple signs outside and around the school to the giant picture in the middle of our basketball stadium. Holden, you're a peeping legend for this. Hey, at least this shows a consistent internal logic and lack of hypocrisy on the part of school admin, although definitely a lack of self-awareness too. All the kids 6th or 7th grade started putting pink laces in their shoes, don't know why, but the school officials banned colored laces saying pink is a gang color. It's Britney. Bitch shanks another student. They decided everything bad happened in the last 5 minutes of lunch, so it got 5 minutes shorter each year. Any group more than 5 had to be up to no good, so no groups over 5. Undefined. Oh, us? This is just 2 groups of 3. School. Ban them. It's clearly a gang war now. Can't wear too many matching shirts because you could be a gang. This was in regards to a kid with cancer wanting to make a bunch of shirts. My high school was in Butte, Nebraska. American schools seem to be obsessed with the idea of gangs. They really are. My public school in the 90s tried to make us wear private school style uniforms. Avoiding gang colors was big argument for this. This was an affluent school in the suburbs. Schools will latch onto any perceived potential transgression to enforce authoritarian rules, which is how you end up with teen girls carrying ibuprofen for period cramps being treated like heroin traffickers. If you were involved in a fight, you got suspended. While it sounds reasonable, context didn't matter. I got suspended once, not for throwing a single punch, kick, whatever. I got suspended because someone knocked the books out of my hand, and when I reached down to grab them, they punched me in the face. I got suspended for walking down the hallway and unprovoked getting punched in the face. FPEEP Brandon Valley Middle School. My buddy got suspended for something similar. His Marine Corps MP mother told him in no uncertain terms that if anyone tried that speep again, earn that suspension. FPEEPing surprise surprise. The dude tried that again, and he went ham on that kid. Busted nose, torn ear, black and blue for weeks. The fallout was exactly the same as not fighting back at all, except my buddy got a pat on the back from his mom and a new video game. Tell you what, no one tried that with him again. If it wasn't zero tolerance, then it wouldn't be a problem. Someone gives you some physical trouble and they get punished. Easy peasy. They've got cameras everywhere. Surely it would be pretty easy to see. Isn't it ironic that zero tolerance policies actually encourage violence? My high school banned t-shirts that had the cover of Rush's album Signals, an album popular at the time, which features an image of a dog sniffing a fire hydrant. They considered it scatological because the dog was about to pee on it. This struck the entire student body as extremely stupid, and roughly one half of the student body picked a day to wear the t-shirt. We won. Imagine how terrible it would be if kids found out that dogs pee